in these baseline rallies. I want to see Mackie maybe go up the middle some, Noah, not to give Medvedev any angles, and then try to open the court after that.
See, that most recent matchup was this year at the Australian Open. Medvedev cruised to a 6-4, 6-2, 6-3 win. Two prior matchups were back in 2019 before the injury for McDonald. Both at the Masters 1000 Indian Wells, of course, and Barcelona, a hard court and clay court win for Medvedev. And right now, for the world number 2, 25 years old, will turn 26 in February of 2022, which is really not that far away, which sounds almost sad and crazy to say all at once. But Medvedev finding his stride in the prime of his playing years, now with 12 career titles, including 3 this year. First title came back in 2018, but he has just kept his foot on the gas. Marseille, Mallorca, Toronto, most recently this past week with that final against Riley Opelka. And to your point, Paul, the defense against Opelka was quite literally perfect from Daniil Medvedev.
Yeah, and it has to be against the big power players, and Daniil Medvedev does such a nice job controlling the tempo of the rallies from the back of the court. He kind of lulls you into a false sense of security. You see him at 6'6" behind the baseline, able to move so well, and it's a little bit of a head scratcher. You don't see a 6'6" guy move like he does on a tennis court, but he has done it with unbelievable success, and just one of the best in the biz. And I'm not a genius, no, but I assume that's why he's ranked 2 in the world.
That would make sense. Yeah, that would make sense. Just about set to get underway. Daniil Medvedev, the top seed in Cincinnati. Mackie McDonald, the young American, looking to build on some recent success, now at 64 in the world. And it will be McDonald who will serve to start the match. No Eagle, Paul Lanicone, so glad to have you along for the ride as we embark in what should be a fantastic second round matchup.
Nice job for Mackie coming into the net after that good serve up the tee to start the point. Stretch out Daniil Medvedev.
McDonald still looking for his first ATP title. Of course, the standout career at UCLA, 3 years there. Pac-12 Freshman of the Year in 2014, and NCAA singles and doubles champion as a junior in 2016, won 22-1. In that final year, playing #1 singles, won a challenger earlier this year in Kazakhstan, where he would beat Yuri Rodionov in that final. Has come close, of course, in DC a couple weeks ago. And a brilliant start for the 26-year-old as Mackie McDonald is on the board to get us going in Cincinnati. Let's rewind to Sunday in Toronto. Daniil Medvedev, we mentioned it against Riley Opelka, who's just playing some outstanding tennis, and Medvedev gave him all types of fits through those 2 sets.
Boy, I'll tell you what, and Riley Opelka did a nice job trying to use some variety, some slices to break up the rhythm of Medvedev, but that seems like a virtual impossibility these days. You see the 2 finals there at the U.S. Open and in Australia just a few months back, and look, it's been fun to watch in the ATP finals beat each of the top 3 en route to that, so getting more and more comfortable, Noah, against the big guns and against the best players in the biggest events. So more good to come from this man, and he has been a nightmare with his peers in terms of figuring out how to beat him. And he's also starting to come in more. Medvedev definitely is not a textbook volleyer, but you'll see he is finding ways to get to the net, use some of those flat penetrating ground strokes to set up easy finishes up at the net.
That is something that a lot of players on tour have mentioned about playing against Medvedev, is you just don't know how the ball's going to come at you with that different forehand, flat ground stroke. How difficult is that to prepare for?
It's tough to read, right? And not only is it tough to read, but you mentioned the flat ground strokes going through the court very quickly, gets on you fast. And part of it too is the perception. I still think players look at him and watch him play, and you think that there's a lot more space to hit to than there is. And he is so great on the move, and he has such terrific tennis IQ, that if you don't hit it perfectly, you're on your horse, and that's kind of the end of the point. There's a nice offensive return. That's one of the ways McDonald can impose his will a little bit, get some second serve looks, and go aggressive early on. Ooh, that was pretty tight.
Drops anyway for Medvedev, who is 37-9 on the year, but more importantly and impressively, 25-3 on outdoor hard courts. Brought some heat on that second serve, but McDonald neutralizes and then shows off the touch.
Big return up the middle, and an opportunity with that dropper, or big to either corner. Okay.
It has been a shaky start, service-wise, from Medvedev. Struggling to land that first serve in this first service game, and so McDonald's with the early chance. Medvedev 2 of 7 service-wise to start.
Oh boy, Mackie guessed right and actually overran it.
Couple of big serves from Medvedev to navigate out of some deeper waters. Rolex game duration past 4 minutes. It's the second game of this second round match. First ace on either side gives Medvedev his hold. Wasn't simple, but we're on serve.
Wilson and Tennis Point give you a new perspective on tennis.
It's right on the incoming cross-court backhand, but just couldn't put it back in play.
Yeah, just kind of overran it, jammed himself. Beautiful play from McDonald, able to just absorb that pace and depth and just redirect it.
confidence. And for Mackie McDonald, that feels like the name of the game. And he had talked about it earlier in his career, prior to some tour-level success, when he was winning challengers, winning futures, just how much winning helped to give him that belief that he can do it and continue to improve along the way.
Good habit to get into. Find any level, you find ways to win, and that is, it's going to translate. You find ways to manage the environment, no matter what the level is. You're feeling pressure, so if you can figure it out in the transition level events, the challengers and the ITFs, then when you get that opportunity on this stage, same kind of pressure, but you've got that tangible memory that you figured it out before, so you can do it again, and that's exactly what Mackie's learning.
Speed for Medvedev.
Look at Mackie's coach. That barely clipped that baseline.
Got just enough. And McDonald 1 point away. Went deep up the middle, but Medvedev is just so talented. Had plenty of time there. He puts it away.
Yeah, and you can see, look at Medvedev getting closer to the baseline. This ball drops a little short, and the thing is, it sits up a bit. Like how high it bounces. That's right in the strike zone. And Medvedev does a nice job pulling that inside in. I think when Daniil Medvedev starts to get more comfortable up at the baseline, he is a nightmare because he can hit the ball flat through the court.
And so McDonald earned himself a break point in Medvedev's first service game, and now it is the world number 2 who will return the favor in McDonald's second service game.
Lennox first serve.
Target hit.
Yes. Medvedev.
First double fault of the match for McDonald sets up the second break chance now for Medvedev. One of 4 former champions playing just today in Cincinnati is Daniil Medvedev. Too good. Daniil Medvedev showing off all of the skill and all of the arsenal en route to the early break. Sounds from a great tennis city and an outstanding tennis tournament. Although, Paul, it's been bothering me all week. I really think that the eyes of the Gerber baby are following the players on the wall. It's like the Mona Lisa. Right there.
It could be distracting, right?
A little bit.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta make sure you maintain your focus. Otherwise, you'll have some misdirected frustration.
That's correct. Focus not an issue for Medvedev, as he's won a couple points in a row, starting to build that momentum for himself. Won this tournament in 2019. And really for Medvedev, it was mostly a subpar 2020 up until winning the Tour Finals at the end. He just came to a roaring end. And that has carried all the way into 2021. Of course, the final appearance at the Australian Open to start the year, losing to Novak Djokovic there, but has won 3 more titles and just continues to compile success, including quarterfinal at the Olympics, where he would fall to Carreño Busta.
14-15.
Update from Court 10. Riley Opelka. Really positive finish to the first set, and bageled in the second set. Just the second time in his career he's been bageled in any set, as Medvedev serves out that service game with an ace and consolidates the early break.
Medvedev leads 3 games to 1.
Good look at Gilles Servaro with the sunglasses on, coach of Daniil Medvedev. Those guys have a very lively relationship. Lots of passionate conversations and discussions.
ATP Coach of the Year. He's been an active coach since 2007, so he's been around the block. And he and Medvedev have had an incredibly successful pairing. Meanwhile, McDonald trying to get back on track.
Left for some.
McDonald was asked after tearing that hamstring at Roland Garros in 2019 how tough it was, considering the fact he was fresh off a career-high rank inside the top 60 for the first time in his career, to now have to stand on the sidelines and watch and recover and all that momentum. Coming to a screeching halt. He actually said that it was better that he had already gotten into the top 100. He said if he hadn't been in the top 100 yet, he wasn't sure he was going to believe enough that he was capable of doing it while having to sit out and rehab as long as he did. And that early success in his career was key to making sure that he had the drive to continue and get back fully healthy and play at the level he is now.
And some of this frustration from Mackie is just about the difficulty in trying to find where to attack Medvedev. How do you make him get off balance? And then when he's off balance, how do you finish the point? Really difficult to just hit the ball through him.
Medvedev in full control now. 2 breaks early in the first. And the top seed flexing his muscles early.
Fisher Investments, our clients know we have their backs.
How do your clients know that?
Because as a fiduciary, it's our responsibility to always put clients first.
So you do it because you have to?
No, we do it.
It covered Cilic and Rublev going the distance. Right now, there's really nothing that McDonald can do to impact Daniil Medvedev. He is in a zone, fourth ace, and dictating everything he wants.
10 out of 10 on Medvedev's first serve. He has been spot on when that first one goes in.
For Medvedev, it was a big win here in 2019 in Cincinnati. Biko fan in the final, but it was Novak Djokovic in the semis. That was the big win for him to solidify once again just how dominant he can be on the hard court. Up to that point, McDonald has done a good job of attacking the second serve of Medvedev. Just the third point he's won on his second serve. Medvedev now just one game away from claiming this first set.
What if you could go into the past, back before the fishing line was cast, to see that it was sustainable wild caught, so you could feel good about the fish that you bought? We know the story of all the fish that we've sold, because that's what makes us whole.
And it's got to be frustrating to play against somebody like Medvedev, where there's really only so much you can do to impact his game plan.
Oh.
Like I said, there's really only so much you can do to impact his game plan, especially when he's dialed in like this. Barely clipped it. And now he's just playing free, man.
McDonald got away with one there. Approach up the middle I like, but that one just a little bit short.
First ace for McDonald in a big spot. He looks to keep this first set alive. Good pressure hold for McDonald as he tries to bring some momentum back in his own favor. Medvedev will serve for the first set when we return.
It's the closing of the Grand Slam season in the city that never sleeps. Here, any player will be galvanized by the clamor of the arena. It urges them to tap into unexpected resources, keeping the crowd on edge and the lights ablaze season after season. Welcome to the US Open.
Before we talk about tax-smart investing, what's new?
Well, Audrey's expecting.
Twins.
Grandparents.
We want to put money aside for them, so